Hey there, MiniWarGamers. Owen here from MiniWarGaming, bringing you a Rules You Got Wrong to episode 68, the game between myself and Mike, or one of our games, because we've been doing those escalating games. This one is specifically referring to the Blood Angels versus Necrons, when I brought two Furiosos and Dreadnoughts, and yeah. Anyway, basically here to answer a few of the questions and do a bit of a Rules You Got Wrong. Though, honestly, I don't think I should call them Rules I Got Wrong anymore, because they're no longer referred to as Rules Gotten Wrong, they're actually the cooler intentionally cheating. So maybe it should be more like Owen defends himself against the cheating accusations rather than Rules You Got Wrong, because they're not called Rules You Got Wrong anymore. I printed off some comments and I'm going to go over them. So I'm going to start from the top. KL50 or Keel50. I also can't stand the excuse that just because you don't normally play the army, you can't be expected to know everything. 1. If you're not going to learn the most basic things from a codex, don't play that codex until you learn it. 2. A lot of the mistakes seem to be BRB problems, even beast movement and independent coherency for stuff, for instance. 3. I only have 2 armies and I don't spend all my time reading this stuff and I still know all of the rules for most of the books. And I don't have access to people who play everything, nor a website that claims to be a leader in miniature wargaming strategy. Sorry guys, you need to get your act together. Ooh, I had trouble reading that one. So you're saying that if we don't know the books, we shouldn't play them? Well, it's hard to do, because I do want to play more armies, and you guys want to see more armies, so that's where the line is. I don't have time to learn all of the armies for all of the games that I play. I try and learn them as I play them, and then I do the rules. I read the comments after the videos come up, and make sure that I don't make those mistakes again. So, if you'd like, if you'd prefer, and leave a comment below, I can go back to just playing my own army. I can just play Tau, and you'll see the same things again and again, because I'll know how to play those without making any mistakes. I don't want to do that. I'd rather continue to play the new armies, and make mistakes, and fix them, and then not do it again. So, most likely, that's what I'm going to continue to do. So, I do apologize, but mistakes will come up, and they may be the big BRB mistakes. Like independent characters not being exactly 2 inches apart. He was only about 1.5 inches apart, so technically he could not have charged a different unit. No, it was my intent to have them spread out, but as you can see in the video, I obviously didn't do that, so I don't know what to say to that. My mistake. Moving on. Jaded Knight. Mike, this feels like cheating in response to the Furioso mistake. That's usually a good sign to look up the rules. You really shouldn't assume MiniWarGaming knows them. If you actually watch the video at that point, Mike is referring to when I'm rolling against his Scarabs, who, even though the Furioso doesn't get the reroll until it is an unsaved wound, the Scarabs did not have saves against the wounds anyway. So technically that was done correctly. Against the against the Wraith, which was done afterwards, that was done incorrectly. I had forgotten that the Wraith has a 3-up invuln, though in the end it made no difference as he made every one of those invulns anyway. So, it is true, you do not get to re-roll until after they've made their saves. Most times you ever see a Furioso though, they're just killing units and they don't get saves, but if they do have an invuln, or they have a 2-up armor save, they do their save after you do wounds. So you do, say, 3 wounds on your initial attacks, they roll 3 saves. For every one that they fail, you then roll again. And then they make their saves, and then you roll again if they fail more, and you just keep going like that until either they've made all the saves, you failed a wound, or they're all dead. That's how it works. It's pretty straightforward, but I neglected to do it because I forgot he had an invuln. My mistake. Pilkey. You can't reanimate after running away. The first paragraph of Reanimation Protocols, page 29, states, if a unit makes a fallback move, remove any reanimation counters from it. This is my favorite comment because you refer to the page number that this is on. And that is the best way, like if you ever want us to fix a problem, and especially me, if you can leave a page number in whatever book that we made the mistake in so I can look at the rule and go, that is correct. I made that mistake. That's perfect. That's exactly what I would like. So I know I'm going to make more mistakes. I don't want to make more mistakes, but in the sake of games trying to move on and play at a half-decent rate, we don't have time to check every book, or I guess we could. I mean, nah. Anyway, we probably will make more mistakes. We'll miss things, we'll misinterpret, we'll play them wrong, we'll forget. And when we do, leave a comment saying what page number the rules mistake was on, and I'm sure it'll be fixed. Like, for example, he's not going to get to reanimate after he runs away next time, and my Blood Talons are going to let him get saves in between my rerolls. Big Gaz J. Gotta say, Owen's cheese armies are getting a bit silly now. I know he can pick up whichever army he wants, but if he wants to play that list at most gaming clubs, he would never get a game. Dreadnoughts are cheesy? I didn't know that. You know what? I'm just gonna delete this one because I don't have anything to say. The Catacomb Command Barge can jink because it is a skimmer. It also is fast, so it can fire 2 weapons at full ballistic skill while going cruising speed. Page 83, 6th edition rulebook. Bam! There we go again with the page numbers. The Wraiths could not assault that turn because they fired the Exile Ray, which is a heavy weapon. Excellent. The Deathmark Snipers are rapid fire, not heavy. Dante could not elect to... I refer to this part already, but Dante could not elect to charge. The Warriors, whilst his unit charged the Immortals, because you have to keep him at least 2 inches away from the unit in its movement phase to stay out of coherency. Page 39, 6th edition rulebook. If he is within coherency of a unit, after your movement phase is complete, he is automatically joined. First I was not sure, but after the wording in the Codex implies, unlike before, 4th edition, you can reanimate after running away, if you escape. Now I'm gonna have to double check this now, because... No, it's after you make a fallback move, you remove any counters from it. So no, you don't get the reanimation, but the Exile Ray is a heavy weapon, and the snipers are not sniper rifle, like they're not heavy, they're rapid fire. So there's 2 mistakes right there. We thought the snipers were heavy because every sniper we both played with has been heavy, so we didn't double check it. And not sure how we messed up the Exile Ray. But yeah, you can't charge if you fire a heavy weapon, and you don't have either Relentless or Monstrous Creature, which has Relentless, or like a Dreadnought. And that's about it. Oh, on a side note, that is the cheesiest Blood Angels list I've ever seen. I realize it's Matt Ward versus Matt Ward, but wow. Yeah, Dreadnoughts apparently are the really big cheese now. I didn't know that was a thing. Dreadnoughts are terrible. There's so many counters to them, but whatever. That's fine. Everyone's got their opinion. Patty O'Brien 3. Why are Dreadnoughts rolling 3d6 for moving through terrain? Why indeed. I had thought they had moved through cover. They don't. My mistake. And maybe from an older edition, but I don't know where I got that from. Maybe I'm treating them like monstrous creatures. That could entirely be it. I was always thinking like monstrous creatures when I think Dreadnoughts. They're just armored monstrous creatures, but they're actually far less, or far inferior to monstrous creatures. Their attacks do not have a base AP. That's dependent on their weapon. So in the case of the Blood Talons, the Overlord should have gotten a save because they're only AP 3, not AP 2. They also do not roll 3d6. They don't have move through cover like the monstrous creatures do. They also can suffer from dangerous terrain. They get immobilized and lose a hull point if you fail your dangerous terrain test, if it is in dangerous terrain. And they have hull points and can die instantly, unlike monstrous creatures that have wounds. So, all in all, Dreadnoughts are vastly inferior. That's the word I was looking for. Vastly inferior compared to the monstrous creatures that are in the other codexes. So, my mistake. I had been treating them as though that they were monstrous creatures. I thought they ran by the same rules. I had to reread all the Walker rules, and I have reread them now. And it's disappointment, and you probably won't see me bring Dreadnoughts again because they're not that good. I mean, you can see them win in this game, but this was a poor example as Mike, no offense to Mike, but he sent Scarabs after my Sanguinary Guard, who were not going to die to Scarabs. That being said, the Dreadnoughts could have easily gotten chomped by them, but not the Furiosos. Furiosos don't care. Anyway, moral of the story that I'm trying to get to here is, yeah, Dreadnoughts are not nearly as good as monstrous creatures, and they don't have move through cover, so I made a mistake there. Dark Heroic 33, Blood Talons, Lightning Claws, which are AP3, so the Overlord could have just made his 2 saves. Yep, like I said, I messed up with Dreadnoughts. I was under the impression that they function the same way as monstrous creatures. They do not. They are not the same in any way. They're more akin to a base infantry unit than they are to a monstrous creature. Despite the fact that they are giant, hulking metal monstrosities, they don't act like that. They act like just regular guys unless you give them a weapon. A certain weapon. Because you can't give them Blood Talons because those don't apply. They have their own little trick, which is a very good trick, don't get me wrong. But yeah, they're not AP2, so he should have had his saves. Butler Pointer. So many mistakes. Oh yeah, it's a Necron heavy. Alright, gonna just skip through that one. Seth Doctor 2. I think one of the fundraiser stretch goals should have been, we will learn the rules of the games we play. Seriously, little errors can happen, but with so many in each report, some even of game-changing consequences. It's true. We do make mistakes. I don't think there was any game-changing consequence here. I mean, everything that came up there, the move through cover, it's not usually game-changing whether you get an extra inch or two on movement. Getting the extra wounds, but he saved them all anyway. Not a big game changer. The only one that really was a big hit. Actually, now that I think back on this, the Dreadnought that fought his Overlord was not a Furioso. It was just a regular Dreadnought, which means it had AP2 close combat weapons. You know, now I have to double check that. Haha, so just went and double checked the video because I was under the impression that this was the case, but now I've verified. The Dreadnought who fought the Overlord, so as it came up in a few of those comments earlier on, it was not a Furioso. It was a regular Dreadnought with a Dreadnought close combat weapon, which is double the strength AP2. So that's why his Overlord did not get a save, and that's why he was instant killed. Because it was strength 10 AP2, which is double his toughness, and he did not have an invuln. That explains that. So, it is true, we make mistakes in our games, and I'll probably put up a disclaimer in the same sense that Dave's does, because we do make mistakes when we're just trying to have a fun game, because we skim over some of these things. So, in the future, expect a disclaimer, most likely, that there will be mistakes in my battle reports. We will try and refrain from making them, but I'm sure it will happen because there's always something that comes up that we either miss, overlook, or didn't know. Walkers were a big thing for me in this game. The previous game, it was independent characters. The game before that, it was close combat. One step at a time, I'm slowly getting all of these sorted out, and yeah. I learned how to play Tau. I do one thing, I know how shooting functions. That's all I got. But I've had to learn close combat and characters and all the other things that go along with 40k since then, and it's coming. So continue to leave comments. Like I said, I am glad that you leave comments, especially the people who leave page numbers. It makes it so easy to figure out these rules because then I don't have to try and find where it is in each of the books. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. So that is the rules you got wrong. Just to sum it up in the end, Death Marks have rapid fire guns. The Wraiths could not have charged because they fired a heavy weapon, which if he had known that, he of course would not have fired the heavy weapon, but anyway. The whip coils would make me initiative 1, but him assaulting through cover also makes him initiative 1, so we were attacking at the same time regardless. And Blood Talons are AP 3, which against the Wraith, he should have done his invuln save before I continued to roll for wounds, though in the end it made no difference as he saved all of the wounds anyway. It ended up being the other Dreadnought who finally finished him off. Independent characters, if still within 2 inches of a unit, count as being part of that unit in the end of the movement phase. Should have had Dante a little bit further away so that he wouldn't be counting as them, which would have been possible within my movement, but it was a mistake and it should not have happened. Won't happen again. The fight between the Overlord and the Dreadnought, normally you would get a save had they been Blood Talons, but it was actually just a regular Dreadnought with a Dreadnought close combat weapon, which is double strength AP2, and crushed him, so no 2-up save against that attack. And that's about it. Other than that, there's probably more that I'm missing right now. I'm pretty sure I got them all though. The big things that came up the most were Dreadnought, Snipers, AP3, and the one that came up, bold, caps lock all over the place, was the after the unsaved wound. So, for anyone who isn't sure, and I'm going to go over it one more time before I end this video, is Blood Talons. You get your initial attacks, you attack and do wounds. If they have a save, they roll their saves. For every save they fail, you get to make more attacks based on each one that they failed. If they don't have a save, it's considered an unsaved wound, and you can then attack again for each wound you have done. So against, say, like boys, or scarabs, or Tyrannid gods, you can just keep rolling because they won't have a save against your attack anyway. But against things that do have an invuln, or have, like, say, feel no pain, they're high enough toughness, they're toughness 4, and they will get feel no pain against it, they will roll. Basically, they do their save first, and then you continue to roll. Unless they don't have a save, or they fail your save, then you continue to roll from there. But they are AP3, they're not AP2, Dreadnoughts do not count like monstrous creatures in that regard. So, that's how Dreadnought close combat work. That's how Blood Talons work. Not just Dreadnought close combats, but Blood Talons in particular. They are the only weapon in the game that has the ability to constantly keep attacking. Even old One Eye, who used to be the big guy with that kind of ability, his do not proc off of each other. They do not continue to get more attacks based on his attacks. He only gets the one extra round of attacks. So I did also forget that my weapons are mastercrafted on the Sanguinary Guard. I should have had one reroll per guy, which would mean I had to roll them separately. Is the only technical way of doing it. It does slow down the game, but man. Anyway, that should have been done, and I did neglect to fire any weapons on my Dreadnoughts, other than the assault cannons, where they do have, especially the Furiosos who have Meltas, and Stormbolters. Hopefully this clears things up for you, MiniWarGamers. I am paying attention to the comments, and I know I would make mistakes in my battle reports, and I do try and fix them, and I am glad that you guys leave these comments, because I am trying to fix it. So, happy wargaming, leave comments below, let me know if I missed anything, and I'll make sure that in our next battle report we do it correctly. Have a good night.